Okay, so yeah, again, this is later than usual. This show technically was shorter than All In, but it started later. It started at 1 o'clock here, not counting the pre-show, like the 2 hour pre-show. But yeah, like All In started at, I want to say it was 10 or 11. And that's including the kickoff show. But it ended at 4. And here this went to 5. And I think it was originally supposed to go to 4 because everything I saw, everything indicated there said the post scrum or whatever they call it, that was going to be at 4. But then they added a match, and for some reason they attacked a whole hour onto the show. I don't know why. Anyway, like I said, no kickoff show matches. We'll get into what the coverage situation is going to be like, because it's still a little up in the air, unfortunately. But I'll get into that when we get in after I finish the review portion. Anyway, our first match was Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed. Right off the bat, Reigns tried a couple of offensive maneuvers. Reed shrugged them off until Reigns managed to goad him into getting hit in the throat. Reigns attempted a Samoan drop but collapsed under Bronson Reed's weight. Reed hit an Uranagi on the French announce table. They're in France, so. Reed then hit a World's Strongest Slam. Reed hit a Samoan drop and attempted to steal Reigns' shoes again. Reigns went for a Superman punch. Bronson Reed countered that into a DVD. Reed went for a torpe through the ropes, but then Reigns countered that with a Superman punch. Reigns went for the spear. Reed countered that with a drop kick. Reigns avoided a tsunami. Reed then countered a spear into a powerbomb. Eventually, Reed went for another tsunami. Reigns got up and got Reed into a super Samoan drop and then hit the spear for the 3 count of the victory. Sorry about that, I sneezed. Anyway, Reigns, after getting the victory, got his shoes back from the Shula Fala. He got the laces cut so they were not tied together anymore. And he stood up on the announce table to celebrate, and that's when Braun Breaker showed up, speared Reigns off the announce table. He speared Reigns again. He and Reed both attempted to leave. They got Paul E. out of the ring. Reigns had put Paul Heyman in a guillotine to get the Shula Fala back. And they then came back, hit another couple tsunamis. Jey Uso came to Reigns' rescue, but he got beat up. They did not hit a tsunami on him, but that was pretty much how it ended. And overall, I was enjoying this match. I think the ending, again, much like the ending to All In, I think this was just way too excessive. Like, I can't remember if Reigns has already gone to shoot his Street Fighter thing, or if he's going to be shooting his Street Fighter thing. But if you're doing an injury angle, you know, like, the 2 tsunamis were fine, okay? Once he got the spear, but it's like, no, we needed 4, 5, 6 more, and we needed guys standing around doing nothing, and it just completely killed the momentum of this match because it just dragged. It didn't need to. Again, you shortened that little segment down. I think it was a great match. It made Reed look strong even though he lost. It obviously reinforces whatever that group is named, the Vision, I believe. It reinforces their strength, but still, it just, like, now you've just gone and made it look excessive, like the Death Riders stuff. It's just, like I said, it made the match feel really boring towards the end, unfortunately. And it really kind of left a sour taste in my mouth because I was digging the show right up until that point. After that, we had the Tag Team Championship match that was just added at the last minute. The YS6 versus the Street Profits. That's Gacy and Loomis of the YS6. Right off the bat, they're trying to sow some dissension in the Street Profits. Again, you know, those guys are talented, but they both work much better as a team than they do as single stars. Like, you know, again, stop teasing a breakup. I don't think it's a good idea. At one point, Montez Ford blind tagged in a rather violent manner. He really slapped Dawkins on the back. BFAB got interjected, had to interject to basically stop them from arguing. Loomis came in, he had a body slam and a leg drop. Ford suplexed Gacy on the apron. Eventually, Dawkins tagged back in. He had a butterfly neck breaker and a swanton on Gacy. They fought a little bit to the outside. Eventually, Eric Rowan interceded and slowed down everything just enough for Ford to intervene and attack Rowan and Gacy. However, in the process, he didn't notice that Nikki Cross had slipped down to the ring and crawled under the apron, so that when Ford tried to return to the ring, he got tangled up in the apron, and that enabled Captain Uncle Howdy to come down and hit the Sister Abigail, and that enabled the Wyatts to hit the Plague, which is the suplex into a powerbomb finisher they do for the 3 count of the victory. Not a terrible match. Again, I think they're finally trying to make the YS6 full heels. Now, if they've sort of realized everything in this weird tweener space wasn't working. And I do understand they are really trying, but yeah, it still kind of doesn't quite ring as well as the original Wyatt stuff. Again, I know they're in a pickle, so I'm not going to be too hard on that. The match overall is fine. Like I said, just don't break the Street Profits up. Like I just don't see that being a good for either of them. They're charismatic together. Apart, they're just not interesting. I mean, they've tried to make Ford interesting for years, and again, it's either he clicks with Dawkins and the Street Profits, or he clicks with his wife, and she's off doing her own thing. So, yeah, I don't really see Montez Ford as being that big a single star. Okay, our next match was the Women's Intercontinental Championship match between Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella. Right off the bat, Becky fought out of a rack attack attempt and kind of feigned an eye injury, slipped out of the ring, got drop kicked in the leg for a measure, but then she came back and had a leg drop off the second rope. Bella slammed Lynch, and then what did I write here? Slammed Lynch on the apron, I believe. Lynch avoided a spin kick off the ropes, and Nikki Bella sold her leg, which is not like my leg, so I guess I can relate hitting that and it really hurting. Lynch countered a rack attack into the final cut. Lynch had a superplex. She tried to do a cross arm breaker. Bella fought out of that, tried to put her in, is it the Bella Lock? Her STF finisher. Becky got to the ropes. They fought around again. Bella hit a Bella Buster on the ring steps, and then she tried to go for the rack attack. Becky fought out of it, but Nikki Bella hit the manhandle slam. She tried to go for the disarmer. However, Lynch was able to counter that into the sort of backslide pin she now is using, that Wade Barrett dubbed the Lynch pin. Get it? For the 3 count of the victory. Yeah. I think I've made my feelings about Becky Lynch being Women's Intercontinental Champion well known. I just don't care. Like I said, it's one of those, Nikki Bella probably wasn't going to win this because she's not a full-timer anymore. I mean, it was a decent enough match. I think it was probably the longest Nikki Bella single match I've ever seen. So, she proved she can go in that manner, but I think she wrestles a completely different style to even the style that Becky Lynch wrestles. Like, it's that she's not the early 2010s Divas style, but I think it's more akin to that than the late 2010s women's wrestling style that Lynch tends to work at, and I don't think it quite gelled enough. It was just kind of an okay match. It really just wasn't that good. Okay, our next match was the Donnybrook match between Rusev and Sheamus. That's basically no DQ with a lot of bar accoutrements in there. There's barrels of whiskey, there's a bar, there's shillelaghs because Irish. Right off the bat, Sheamus hit a suplex on the outside of the ring. Rusev fought back with a kendo stick. Rusev did the 10 beats on Sheamus. Sheamus came back, did the 10 beats on Rusev, then did it with the shillelagh. Sheamus countered a chair shot with a jumping knee. Sheamus hit a Celtic cross. They fought to the outside. They set up 2 tables earlier. They got up onto the ring apron. Rusev was able to get the accolade on at the top of these barrels, but Sheamus fought out of that and hit a big white noise off of the whiskey barrels through the tables. Sheamus hit a brogue kick. Rusev kicked out. He hit a Machka kick and then attacked with the shillelagh, hitting Sheamus so hard that he broke it over his back. Sheamus tried to fight back again, but then Rusev locked on the accolade a second time. Sheamus tried to counter it into a pinfall. Basically, he tried to lean back and get his legs under to get some leverage, but Rusev was a little wise that he was using the shillelagh for assistance, and so he pulled back even further, and that made Sheamus tap out. Fairly entertaining match. Again, a lot of weapons matches. It was good. It was hard hitting. It was mercifully short. Again, I kind of wish some of the other matches had been a little shorter as well. I think it would have helped the show flow a lot easier. Again, maybe they would have they wouldn't have to extend things like they did. But yeah, overall, fun and entertaining match. And that brings us into our second to last match, which is John Cena versus Logan Paul. Early on, they were doing kind of a test of strength thing, and Paul countered that by stomping on Cena's feet so he could land a gut punch with his titanium hand. Paul countered a monkey flip into a big boot. Cena came back with a lariat. Paul debuted a lot of new offense in this. He had a nice gut wrench suplex on Cena. He fought out of an AA, hit a buckshot lariat. Cena brocked a frog splash, hit an AA. Paul countered an AA into some type of maneuver. I can't remember. Cena countered a roll up into the SCF. He hit a tornado DDT. Paul hit a zigzag. Paul hit a swanton bomb. Cena hit the end of days. Cena hit a flapjack tiger driver. Paul began doing the 5 moves of doom. Cena countered that into an AA. Paul came back. He hit the Paul from Grace. That's the frog splash. He hit another one, but Cena fought out of that and hit a Styles Clash. Paul eventually fought back again. Seemed to have landed a big loaded punch. Went for a crossbody. Cena countered that and hit 2 AAs for the 3 count of the victory. This was a really good match. Again, this probably should have been the main event because I thought this was the match the people really seemed to care about. I think it was the match that had more momentum behind it, a lot more energy involved. These 2 guys really did bring it and put on a really good match. So, again, as aggravating as it sounds, again, Logan Paul is kind of made for professional wrestling. He really should stick to this more often. I don't know so much about Jake, but I think Logan's figured out that, he can make this really work. They are talking he's going to be one of the major champions real soon. I don't know if he'll beat Cody, but I wouldn't be surprised if, WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia maybe winds up being headlined by Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes. Like I said, the idea they really worked the idea in that he hits these great moves and he's doing all this offense. So he knows he can work, but sometimes he plays to the crowd just a little too much that it becomes a detriment. And not in the he's cocky and arrogant, so he plays to the crowd so much. It's that he plays to the crowd, but he should be going for the pin and getting a victory. and that's where they're getting involved. But like, if they could actually have him develop like a killer instinct part of it, I think it would work a lot better for him. And again, that's going to help uplift him even more. And that leads us into our main event, the four-way match for the World Championship. Seth Rollins versus CM Punk versus LA Knight versus Jey Uso. This match was way too long. It does not help that we have four guys getting their intros to the ring, and three of them have really long intros. Seriously, the match started, I think it was 5 after 4, and it didn't really start, they didn't start the actual fighting portion until 4:25. Like, they gotta really dial that back just a little bit. Right off the bat, CM Punk kicked Jey Uso, which caught Rollins off guard since he thought they were all going to gang up on him. Knight and Punk fought for a bit. Rollins just rolled out of the ring. Eventually, Jey Uso got Rollins back into the ring and got everyone to start ganging up on him. They fought for a little bit. They got tables out. The Knight called for tables. But then immediately Jey Uso super kicked Punk. They brawled into the crowd. Jey Uso and Seth Rollins brawled out initially, but then LA Knight slipped in. Just what it looked like Rollins was getting the upper hand. He fought with Rollins back to the ring. CM Punk hit a flying lariat off the barricade. Knight hit Uso with a burning hammer, but then CM Punk hit a Shining Wizard on LA Knight. Then Rollins hit a pedigree and a frog splash on Jey Uso, got a 2 count. I believe Knight broke the pin on that one. I may be wrong on there. Knight hit hit Rollins with a DDT is what I said there. Sorry. He went for the BFT, but Jey Uso broke that up with a super kick. Punk hit a Tower of Doom on Uso and Knight. Knight knocked Punk off the apron through the tables. He hit the BFT on Uso. Rollins broke the pin up. Knight missed an elbow drop through the announce table. They were fighting again. They were going to bet on Rollins. Rollins rolled out of the way. Rollins countered a spear into a pedigree on Jey Uso. And basically, he didn't... And immediately he sets about... I think he hit the stomp on Uso on the outside. He did another stomp on LA Knight because he really wanted to take on CM Punk. Punk fought back. Rollins hit a stomp after a GTS. Stomped Uso and Knight on the outside. He grabbed a chair, got back into the ring. Punk caught Rollins, hit the GTS once, was setting up for a second one when someone who wasn't totally a masked, Becky Lynch, ran into the ring and hit a low blow on CM Punk, and then unmasked, revealing that she was in fact Becky Lynch. And then Rollins hit a stomp on the chair for the 3 count of the victory. Okay-ish match. Again, not aided by the fact that we had to sit through 20 minutes of intros. It's just we gotta figure out a way to truncate some of this. If we're doing 4-man matches, we gotta do shorter intro bits, or you guys have gotta move faster. And if you're not wondering what happened to Reed and Breaker. Before the match, Pierce banned them from the building and said if they get involved in any way, they would be suspended indefinitely without pay. Jey Uso was selling a rib injury, and so yeah, that's why he wasn't moving quite as well. And I think that's why a bunch of the guys were going after him right off the bat instead of ganging up on Rollins like they probably should have. But yeah, other than like, okay, again, we're playing into Becky and Seth being married again, and for the first time, like, maybe this storyline would work as they're probably interested in doing this now. At the same time, I remember how well this played the last time they tried this, and it really didn't work. Again, I've seen them in some behind-the-scenes stuff where they're a real couple, and they are a real couple, but, I don't want to see them be way too goody two-shoes. I don't want to see them be way too jerky, and they're both like in this right now, and I don't know how interesting this is going to be. And again, like, I'm kind of annoyed, which I know I'm supposed to be, but in this case, there's a difference between liking, not liking someone, and it just being, the unfair term of X-Pac heat does exist, but yeah, it's the idea of they're not booing you because they like booing you. They're booing you because they're tired of you. And again, I'm sensing this with Seth Rollins a little bit. Like he's really good, but it's like this is the fourth or fifth time we've done this. And he's doing his own faction, and I think they're already starting to plant the seeds for Braun Breaker to turn on them because as Breaker was attacking Reigns, he kept saying, "You're in my way, just like everyone else is." And it's like, okay, so deep down inside he is secretly targeting Seth Rollins at some point. So again, obviously, and I point out too, as they were taunting Punk as the show went off, Seth Rollins said something about he hated his whole family. So that's obviously started up the rumors about AJ Lee coming back again. If it happens, it happens. Okay, like, I don't know. I don't know when they would do it. I don't see them doing it at Mania because I think, again, Seth has to defend the championship at Mania and doing it. If he doesn't, he's doing a tag match, and then I think he'd have to drop the belt before that, and I don't think people want to see that. I think people want to see Punk go after the championship one last time and maybe win it, but then again, what are you going to do with Braun Breaker at this point? Because I think they're also planting the idea of, like I said, maybe Breaker wins the Rumble and then we do the Batista thing where he turns on Raw. Like he hints that he's going to go after Cody, but then he does the thumbs up, thumbs down, and attacks Rollins instead. Which again, I wouldn't entirely be opposed to, but yeah, like I'm not entirely sure where they're going with this, but it's not in an intriguing way. It's in I'm just bored. Yeah, I think ever since WrestleMania, it's just, yeah, I think they're struggling. NXT's been alright, but yeah, like, the main roster is just not interesting enough, unfortunately. Like I said, I think it probably would have been better to have Cody and Drew. I think that's a way more interesting story right now. I wanted Cena and Logan Paul to main event. I thought that was a story that had more interest behind than this four-way. Like, I think everyone knew Rollins was going to win. Yeah, I kind of think it's like, I don't know if the interest is necessarily there. And unfortunately, I think that's what kind of did the show overall. That's the main problem with the show overall, is this felt really like a glorified house show for the first time in a long time. One of their international shows did this. Like I said, I don't really watch the Saudi shows that much, but from what I've gathered, they're known for they've gotten better. This felt more like those, not quite the Saudi show, but if you remember the Super Showdown that was in Australia a few years ago, where it's like, these were just basically house show matches that we televised. And that's what this really did feel like. So, again, unfortunately, this really felt just kind of flat. The only match I would say 100% that I liked was, again, Logan Paul, John Cena. Other than that, all the other ones are just kind of, okay. I liked Reigns and Reed for the most part until the ending dragged on. The tag match was the tag match. The Women's Intercontinental Championship match, entirely predictable. There's nothing surprising about that. There's nothing exciting me to try to watch wrestling. Yeah, I think you're seeing the point now. So I'm going to have to give WWE Clash in Paris a D. I was going to go see, but the more I'm thinking about it again, I only liked one match on this show. I mean, the other matches weren't bad, they weren't aggravating, so I can't quite go down to an F. I can't go up to a C. I think this is very below average. Okay, so in terms of wrestling, I'm planning for the next wrestling show to be AEW All Out. I'm not going to do the first show. If you don't remember, I said this last week. Clash in Paris is the last main roster WWE PLE on Peacock. They're moving over to ESPN next month. They're counter-programming against All Out. I've explained the problems I've had with the ESPN app, and it appears like my cable system isn't part of that whole if you have it on your cable system. Yeah, like they did amend it to if you don't, or they're trying to add as many cable systems as they can. So I don't know if that, again, I don't know if I would even be able to record another, or review another main roster PLE. If I have to pay for it, I'm probably going to wait until like past Thanksgiving, which would be past Survivor Series, because they will probably have a Black Friday / Cyber Monday special where, maybe I could get it for, $5 for a year or something like that. I really hope I don't have to pay for it, but like I said, it's just, unfortunately, it's way too up in the air. It's way too hard to control. I am aware that they're doing another Worlds Collide show with AAA. Unfortunately, that's going to be very late at night. I don't know if I can necessarily review that or not. If I do, it's going to have to be like a delayed thing, kind of like this, unfortunately. I need to be able to get some sleep before I go to work, okay? So, yeah, I don't know if I could really do that. Like I said, I'm intending for AEW All Out to be the next one. If there's a PLE on Peacock for NXT, I'll probably cover those. It might just be those for the rest of the year. Maybe another AEW show if I can get around to it, but who knows at this point. So, yeah, I don't mean to be too doom and gloom, but this may be coming to an end. I don't know. Anyway, on the plus side, the next video is going to be the Week 2 predictions. Week 2 of college, Week 1 of NFL, so that's what that will be. And then after that, it's probably going to be the Week 3 predictions. So yeah, it's NFL prediction, or football predictions videos, the next 2. Probably next 3 actually, and then they'll have the random trade review on Doomsday Clock. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember you can help me expand my professional wrestling coverage by supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/SleepyTimeForCat Productions. Also, remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.